In this video I'd like to talk to you about Shaman Enhancement spec, how great it feels and how it's a little bit soft. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, Gyro here. We're taking a look at my Enhancement Shaman Tyroxis and I am item level 452. My cloak is rank 11, not very top level, but 65 corruption resistance percent is pretty damn good. I'm quickly showing to you my talents. This is not a guide of the spec, not the guide of the class, but you are most welcome to pause and take a closer look if you would like to replicate my setup. Plus, your questions in the comments down below are always welcome, and I'd be more than happy to offer my non-expert but reasonably educated opinion. I do not have Gift of the Titans for this run, yet it's a full clear of a horrific vision of Orgrimmar. So enhancement was a long time coming. This alt has been a long time coming. If you look back in some videos on my channel, I was talking about my enhancement alt and how I enjoyed leveling him, gearing him up, how much I enjoyed actually that very early power check and very early progression for this alt. If I have to go back to my scale, to the infamous scale of gyro comparisons of how classes are faring and different specs are faring, specifically in horrific visions and specifically solo runs, I have to say that enhancement is good, maybe even a little bit better than good. I would not say that the spec is amazing, and that is mainly because of what I said earlier, because upon closer examination and solo run, the spec does feel a little soft. This run, to be completely honest with you, I probably could have done a better job at highlighting that point to you, because I know what I'm talking about, because I was ranking up this cloak, and obviously there are a lot of runs that had to happen of horrific visions before I came to this point that I'm demonstrating to you. So here I'm finally able to do a full clear, to give you kind of a full breadth of the feeling of how the spec is faring in the horrific vision. But first of all, this is an easier horrific vision, so we are not comparing apples to apples yet again, because it's not Stormwind. Orgrimmar is easier. In case you're very new to horrific visions, you're welcome here, by the way. You will learn a lot from my channel, hopefully. Secondly, I am running a food buff, and I'm running that augmentation rune buff, which doesn't count for much, but I'm still running it. So I am pointing out to you, I'm not hiding it from you, this is not a naked run, which is why in this particular run, where I decided finally to articulate to you that it's a great spec, fantastic, but it's soft, it feels soft. You won't feel that much softness, funnily enough, because the food buff is concealing it. The food buff will conceal from you the softness, because it actually provides tremendous amount of self-sustain, for basically any character, any class, and Enhancement Shaman is not any different. So Enhancement Shaman obviously has access to self-heals. While you're working off Maelstrom, off that energy that we build up with our abilities, you get access to instant heals. They are not tremendous, they don't heal you for full health, but it's a very solid self-sustain that is mana independent. Yeah, that's great, except it has nothing to do with softness. It's just your ability to get mana back. Problem is that if you are not running a food buff and trying to do a full clear around the same item level as I am at, which is about 450, this is 452, and your cloak is not severely overgearing this content, if your cloak is not rank 15 or even with additional augmentations, then further augmentations, if it's around this reduction of sanity damage by 65%, which is, I'd say, by the way, is probably the first point when you can start comfortably clearing horrific visions fully. I'd say at that rank, about 11, you can start doing this. So basically, around that point, the full clears become possible, but food buff makes a tremendous amount of difference, essentially. Yeah, if you don't have it, you feel on a shaman, on Enhancement Shaman, that has to be right in the face of the enemies, surrounded by enemies, many enemies hammer on him. His health honestly drops like whoo, whoo. You just see how fast it drops. It's really, really, really sometimes dangerous. So especially if you try to push, if you get into the groove and you actually get into the fun groove of playing this class, because there is a lot of fun to be had with Enhancement Shaman. Speaking of the fun of enhancement as a spec of the shaman, what is so fun about it? Well, as I mentioned to you in the very first introduction power check videos of the spec, I think a lot has to be attributed to just the build of Wind Fury, the nature of Wind Fury, which is basically you're running with these two weapons, you're coming close to an enemy, and yes, based on a little bit of RNG, of course, it may proc, it may not, but it procs very often. It just procs and they're dead. That's the most fun. That's the most fun about the shaman. Versatility of the build of the shaman, ability to quickly, instantly shift into a ghost wolf form and not be slowed down as much by any other hindrances and any other kind of stuff, and be able to traverse the space quickly enough. Is it the most mobile class? No, not by a large margin, but it's very, very nicely, firmly in the middle of the pack of those classes as far as mobility is concerned. In my opinion, it is not a Windwalker Monk, and it's certainly not anywhere close to Demon Hunter, but it is very, very nicely manageable. What you also will notice here, and I know I'm jumping between the fun and just observations of something to bring to your attention in this particular run, when we get split personality madness in a horrific vision, it is very important to develop a bit of a, it's almost like a mechanical memory, I don't know if that's the right term, but it basically is like you need to watch out, you need to slow down in this area, you actually need to slow down and watch out to the environment around your character getting a little bit shady and a little bit purpley and a little bit misty, like, you know, it happens from the sides of the screen. It means that within a second or two, those split images of yourself, the ones that stun you, will surround you. As you can see, I think I made 1 or 2 mistakes maximum in this run, but I think this is one of those better runs where I was very conscious of watching out for that, slowing down and making sure that I watch for them to pop and either wait for them to disappear before I proceed if there is no way around them, or I just wait for them to pop and then I find the exit and I exit. So I think I've done better this run, and that's what I would call out to you. So I think use me as a guinea pig, yeah, as a self-volunteering guinea pig, but I think that that is definitely a better way to do this. So yeah, Wind Fury is tremendous amount of fun for the shaman. I find the spec a bit overcomplicated. It's a bit overcomplicated, and I believe I didn't look very closely at what happens to it in Shadowlands Alpha, but Bellular Gaming, one of the channels that I like and that I'm visiting a lot, Michael's channel, I think Michael reported not long ago on the changes for enhancement spec in Alpha, in Shadowlands Alpha, and I think he said that they're actually very promising, very good. I'm not in Alpha still, so I cannot tell you, I cannot validate this, but I look forward to perhaps seeing some sort of simplification, even if they give back, they unprune and give us back some abilities, even if that happens. I hope, and I have not looked closely at this, but I hope that maybe management of energy, of the resource that we're spending, Maelstrom versus mana versus that would be my main criticism. I don't think we need 2. I think I would use 1. Just give me either Maelstrom or mana or nothing, and just make it all cooldown based. I don't mind, I don't care, just make it simple. Just make it simple for me. I think, again, as I say to you on my different videos, reviews of different classes, yes, I'm a fan of pressing not too many buttons. I am. But I'm happy with, you know, reasonable, medium amount of buttons, so to speak. It doesn't have to be 2 or 3, it can be 6 or 7. But at the same time, I just don't like when mechanics of the class are too complex, when I have to, I don't know, track the number of runes available and at the same time energy and runic power like we used to have to do with Death Knights, and here I have Maelstrom and mana and, you know what I mean? I just would like some simplification to it. Is it affecting the fun negatively? The fact that there's Maelstrom and mana and stuff? No, it doesn't really. But if you do run out of Maelstrom and you suddenly have nothing to heal yourself with and enemies are still on you, which happened to me, probably not in this run is just domination, but in the runs that led up to this one, which made me actually inspired and made me feel like I would actually give this justice and say the spec is fun, but it's soft. So in those cases, I had to shift out of my Maelstrom using mode to mana using mode and try to run off and still heal and stuff like that. It wasn't pleasant. Those moments were not pleasant when they happened. Fortunately or unfortunately, they are not depicted here. I think the spec is good. I think it's way above average. I think it's good or maybe even better than good. It feels powerful, feels great. But if you're not running food buffs, and if you're not severely overgearing content with the cloak and with just your item level, I think you will find it soft. You will find that you are constantly keeping your finger on the self-heal and trying to mind the number of mobs that you pull. You will be mindful of that. Naturally, that becomes even more in your face if you're starting to run masks, because with masks, each added mask adds the toughness and adds the damage that the enemies, that the bosses do to you, that everyone does to you. You will start feeling it, I guarantee it. That's all I can say about the enhancement. I enjoyed it, good spec, highly recommended. If you would like more solid kind of impressions as far as talents, what works for me, what doesn't, again, I showed the talents, they're most simplistic, basic format that I can use. I'd be more than happy to talk about it again with you. And I will always welcome your feedback. Do you find enhancement? Have you tried enhancement? How do you think it fares for you? Do you find it too complex? Would you also like to see simplification in Shadowlands? If so, then what kind of simplification? Are you also like me, feeling like they've overdone it a bit with two types of energy? I do. Anyway, music! Maestro! Music for my friends! Thank you! Have a party, my friends, if you would like to finish watching this lovely run, what I got from the end chest. Subscribe if you haven't already, your support means a lot to me. Thanks a lot, talk to you in a couple of days' time. Gyro signing off.